All right, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, by Hashem YAHUAH this day. John 5:39. I got pens everywhere. Goodness grief. And it says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. Let's look at something in John chapter 14. About verse 13, I want to say. John chapter 14, about verse 13, I want to say. John chapter 14, verse 12. Let's see what we got going on today. And it says, truly, truly, I say unto you, he that believe on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Abba. And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Abba may be esteemed in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Abba, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, neither know him, but ye know him, for he will dwell with you, and he shall be in you. You know, he just sat back and told you that if you kept his commandments, that you would get a blessing. And that blessing would be the Ruach HaKodesh, because he said this is what the Father would give you. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, look at something in Luke chapter 12, I want to say. Luke chapter 12. Just something that the Master stated. Just going to read it off the page. Actually, Luke chapter 12. About verse 28. Luke chapter 12, about verse 28. Luke chapter 12, about verse 28. And it says, if then Elohim, we'll make it 27, I suppose. Matter of fact, just look at 22. Just look at 22. I just do it like that. It says, and he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, neither for the body, and what you shall put on. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouse nor barn, and Elohim feed them. How much more ye better than the fowls? And which of you taking thought can add to his stature 1 cubit? You know, don't get it twisted, right? Because you know you're supposed to plan and do certain things. But then at the end of the day, you can think and plan all you want, and you can't add to your stature not 1 inch, not 1 foot, not 1 centimeter, not 1 yard, not 1 nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you something, it's natural because you're a natural individual. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you dust and ashes. And it's natural to have concern for some of these things. Because see, I just was talking about this here, like, I grew up poor. You know what I'm saying? A nigga ain't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that I may have had, my mama ain't really had the money to buy that. And she was really putting other things in jeopardy to purchase these things. You know what I'm saying? She would classify as the working poor. You know what I'm saying? She didn't move to have us living in those slums. You know what I'm saying? But yet we wasn't doing no better than somebody who might have been living in some slums. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I was just telling somebody this here, right? Like, okay, I was in a situation, niggas sitting back looking at, you know, they like to go do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because they grew up doing certain things. I ain't grow up doing those things. Not because my people didn't do it, because we didn't have the money to go do that. You know what I'm saying? Like your mentality is different when you think about what am I going to eat tomorrow? And you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You bust open the refrigerator and ain't nothing in there. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Like you might not know where you're going to live at. Or you in your teens and you paying bills, you in the grind, whether it's legal or illegal. You know what I'm saying? It changes your perspective on how you view things. You know what I'm saying? So some things that people think because they might have lived differently, they might not can't understand that. You know what I'm saying? And anyone who's been poor knows that they couldn't add to their cubit, couldn't add to their stature 1 cubit by taking any thought. So there's only one or two things that you could do. You could trust in yourself and try to push it on your own, or you could trust in your Elohim that he'll add that on to you, and then go still get out there and do what you got to do. And pray that he increase it, and that it be his will that you go in that direction. And if he show you that something you trying to do is not the direction that you ought to go in, then you ought to relinquish that desire and sit back and wait till he show you the direction that you ought to go in. Because some of y'all done had me say this here, and it's just because I spoke on this earlier, and I'm not finna go into details. But there was a particular situation I was in that I'm looking at now, that certain things didn't go the way that I desired them to go, because that is not what I was supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? That was not supposed to happen. Because if it would have failed a different way, y'all knew I would have went and did that. And that's not what he wanted. That's why he didn't allow it to happen. And there's a lot of things that y'all know that y'all be seeking to go to do, that y'all is showing you not to go do, and you still trying to go do it anyway. So I done told y'all before now, if he really don't want you to do it, he gonna make sure you can't do it. He will frustrate it to no end, to where you have no choice. But if he really wants you to go ahead and kill yourself, he gonna go ahead and let you have that. You can bet that. You know what I'm saying? You can take that to the bank and deposit that all day. Verse 26, and if you then be not able to do that thing which is least, why ye take thought for the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not, yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his esteem was not arrayed like one of these. If then Elohim so clothe the grass which today is in the field and tomorrow's cats in the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? See, that stuff go back to the stuff in the wilderness. We're not going to that. He fed them people. It wasn't one thought that they could take. That man provided all that. He was just trying to tell them, seek this word I'm giving you and get conformed to this covenant. You don't even need to be worried about all that. This stuff right there in the law, man, you ain't got to worry about all that. I fed you manna in the wilderness. I gave you quails, man. I gave you water out of a rock. You wore the same clothes for 40 years. They didn't wax old. Your feet didn't swell. Your shoes didn't bust. None of that. What is you worried about that for? You ought to have been seeking the kingdom. Y'all wouldn't even have to walk around here 40 years if y'all wasn't niggas. If you would have trusted in me and had faith in me, he told you that in Deuteronomy 32, these are sons or children who have no faith. Man, if the people would have had faith in Yahuwah, he wouldn't even have them walking around there that long. But he knew this was an unbelieving and faithless generation. That's why he had to go ahead and prove him out to get the rebels out. Showing you the same thing he gonna do to get you in the new kingdom. I gotta walk y'all around here for 40. Why you think the man taking his time? How to purge the rebels out, so those that are worthy to enter in my kingdom who believe can enter in, so I can get the rest of you riff-raffs up out of here. Gonna bring that trash in my house, man. That's how he feel. You know what I'm saying? You're the same way I done told y'all before, man. You ain't finna let nobody come in your house who's covered in mud and they getting mud on your walls and dirtying your carpet up. That's how he feel about his kingdom. You got all that sin and iniquity on you. You're not finna come in here and get all that mud in my carpet. You're not finna stream all that stuff on my walls. Have a stench and odor in my house that's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to get out. That man ain't on that. That man is not on that. You know what I'm saying? You have to really sit back and think about that. Man is not on that. And I say that to say this here. You got to ask yourself, is what you got going on, is that man really on that? Is he stamping that? Does he agree with that? Is he rocking with that? And I ain't talking about something to be ministered to your heart. I'm talking about you knowing what's written in his word. You know what I'm saying? That man ain't got to communicate nothing with your YAHUAH for you to know right from wrong. You know what this book say. I ain't talking about somebody who new to the game. I ain't talking about no novice. I ain't talking about no rookie. I ain't talking about somebody who just left college and now they on the NFL scene. This their first season in the league. Some of y'all veterans. You know the playbook. You know how the play's supposed to be run. You know what I'm saying? You know you're supposed to make an end cut at the 15-yard line. You know how to run an out and up. You know how to run a slant and go. Take the first time you done ran this route. Now all of a sudden you done forgot how to run the route. You done forgot the play call. And seek not what you shall eat or what you shall drink, neither be ye of a doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek, and your Abba know that you have need of all these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of Elohim, and all these things shall be added unto you. I wouldn't care what it was, man. If it was financial success, if it was a wife, if it was some kids, if it was a husband, whatever the case may be. If you just seek the kingdom, man, if it's Yah's will, he'll add that, give you that. And don't take just because you don't get something that you desire, that you wasn't doing what you're supposed to be doing. It might have not been his will for you to do that at that time or period. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop trying to make your will be his will, or you feel like this man supposed to do something or give you something because that's what you want. That man say he'll give you everything according to his will. That's why the man say, not my will be done, but thy will be done. I did not come down from Shamahim to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. How many of you got a mind to go do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're going to do it because that's Yahuwah's will and not yours? You know what I'm saying? He say, fear not, little flock, but it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. See, I read that part right there because we read all the other stuff to get you to this one point in verse 32. Ain't need for you to have no fear, because it's this man's desire to give you these things. It's his good pleasure. He desires nothing more. But now, let's begin then. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, in the first verse. Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Every time most brews go to Deuteronomy, it's always about these curses. You'll tell you it ain't about number 15 blessings, 14 blessings, but it's all the rest of curse. You know what I'm saying? Don't always need to look at that. We know we look at the curses different than most. We look at them curses as this is what the master took on to take sin up off of you. Matter of fact, since I said that, look at Daniel chapter 9. Probably about 9 and 4. Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm drinking this water. I'm dehydrated. I ain't taking enough fluids in today. Nowhere near enough. Not even close. Let me see. 9 and 4. 9 and 4. Dang, 9 and 4. And I prayed unto Yahuwah my Elohim and made my confession. And said, O Yahuwah, the great and dreadful Elohim, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and committed iniquity, and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O Yahuwah, righteousness belong unto thee. You heard what he told him. See, this is what Daniel, he said, righteousness belong unto thee. See, this man sat back and told you something in the first chapter of John. That, matter of fact, hold this right here. Look at John chapter 1. We talked about righteousness the other day when we were looking at Isaiah 52. I ain't forgot about it. We ain't get to the stuff that I had in my mind about the marriage supper for the Lamb. Maybe y'all will, we get to it. He took us in something else to look at. And that's to getting you prepared to know what to look for when this man of sin comes. Because you know it's a lot of our people, they going crazy right now because they say Russia say get ready for nuclear war and all that type of stuff. And they like World War III coming and the master coming back. But we already know what the book say. That ain't what that man told you to look for. So what if America get nuked? Nigga, that don't mean the end here. Nigga so dumb, this man ain't going to let this place get nuked before he get his elect up out of here. Once he get his people up out of here, then he going to do what you can do what you want to with it after that. That's how he feel. You ain't seen this man before this man murked Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, let me get Lot and Abraham up out of here first. That's how dumb niggas is. This man just ain't finna no drop no bombs or do no crazy stuff before he get his Kadeshim up out of here first. When you ever known Yahuwah to destroy a place and leave his people in there? He don't get his people up out of there. That man told you that in the 14th chapter of Ezekiel. He said whether Noah, Job, or Daniel be in that city, they'll deliver themselves by their own righteousness. This man not finna leave his Kadeshim in there to catch his wrath. He gonna get him up out of there. Matter of fact, after we read this John chapter 1 verse 14, we look at that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Where we at? John 1 and 14. But I need 15. I'll read 14. Don't make no difference. Come on in here and sit down. Right there. Right there. Right there. Sit down, son. Thank you. Got a room full of little muffins in here. It's an egg McMuffin. Little egg McMuffin. Well, if you don't look like your mama, boy. And it says, sit down, Leo. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld the esteem as the only begotten of the Father, full of favor and truth. John bare witness of him, cried, saying, was he of whom I spake. He that come after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have we all received favor for favor, grace for grace. For the Torah was given by Moses, but favor and truth came by YAHUAH HaMashiach. No man hath seen Elohim at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared it. I know, man. So righteousness belongs unto YAHUAH because the Son belongs unto his Father. Calm down, son. You say, who is the arm of YAHUAH revealed, who have believed our report? The Son come right up out the Father's bosom. He belong unto him. That's his righteousness. You got to understand that righteousness belong unto YAHUAH. That's why he say all righteousness is as filthy rags. You got to put the righteousness of the Father on, which is his Son. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. You sitting there looking at me like you understand what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm talking about, Boogie? 1 Thessalonians 5 and 8. You understand what I'm talking about? They go, y'all mommy, you want your children. She says, no, leave them there. No, your mother wants you. Go to your mother. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 8. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. For Elohim hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Master, YAHUAH HaMashiach, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, that we should live together with him. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as you also ye do. So you got to understand something. This man didn't appoint you to wrath. So if this man bringing nuclear bombs on America and he going to do all this here, that means he would have appointed you to wrath if you done sat back and you done put the breastplate of faith and love on. That don't make no sense. That contradicts his word. When you look at what he did in Egypt, before he smashed Egypt, did what he did to it, he got his people up out of there. He got his people up out of there. You will not see, even in Ezekiel, when he sat back and he was coming through Jerusalem to destroy it, he says, set a seal on those who cry and sigh for the abominations committed therein. Even in Revelation, you see him say, seal my servants, don't hurt the oil and the wine. I haven't appointed these people to wrath. I'm not going to do nothing to them. So don't let these people put no fear in your heart about all this type of stuff, man. That man is not going to do his elect like that. He going to get them up out of there. When he why do you think he say, come out of my people, lest you be partakers of her plagues? Because those plagues and that wrath is not made for those who walk in the living Elohim. It's not made for them. It's made for the wicked. So whatever these people got going on with Russia and America, that ain't got nothing to do with the end coming. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Because that's not what the man told you. That man didn't say you nothing about America's going to get hit with nuclear bombs and then I come back. Man don't care nothing about America. No, none of that. All these niggas look at it, they going to go to war with each other. They are not plotting against you yet. They laughing at you right now because you talking about you an Israelite. They think you funny. But their hearts and minds ain't got turned to you. It's getting to a point because you got more Christians talking about these black people who saying they Israelites. So whether y'all know it or not, that seed and that fester of hate. When I say this here, I'm talking about Christian churches because most white people, you know what I'm saying, are Christians. Most black people are Christians. But I'm talking about this fourth is really coming out in the forefront. It's more so Caucasians in these last 6 to 8 months that's coming out speaking against you saying you're an Israelite. And it's going to begin to foster not only in them, But in Arabs and other nationalities of people, the hatred that they have for your Elohim will begin to be manifested towards you when more men actually begin to stand up and speak of your Elohim. I ain't talking about preaching no laws. I'm talking about preaching this son. And then preaching that standard of living that come with this man. Then that hatred will begin to be engendered against you. And then you will begin to see the beginning of the end. See, right now you in birth pains. These are birth pains. Only our dear sisters who done gave birth to children know what I'm talking about this here. That's the feeling that the baby's coming. But the baby ain't here yet. We still got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of labor remaining. The baby ain't even here yet. It's just that pain to let you know the baby coming. That's the time you in right now. Birth pains. Birth pains. Don't let these people put no fear in your heart. Deuteronomy 28:1. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Want to say, y'all give a round of applause for Will for calling my phone to spare me for paying that 1 cent a minute. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate that. It ain't a lot, but I don't want to pay him. I ain't tell you no lie. And it shall come to pass, listen what he said, it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. So let's look at some of these words y'all familiar with here. I just want to look at them because that's just what I feel like doing right now at this time. Sue me. As I say this, let me tell y'all something, right? This dude called my phone yesterday, right? You know what I'm saying? We got a little thing, business expense, you know what I'm saying? We got to pay these people. You know what I'm saying? So buddy called me like, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to extinguish this account today? I'm like, no, I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Buddy come try to shame me, try to make me feel bad. It's only, I don't care if it was $2.33. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got it. See, I'm mentioning this for a reason, right? Because the reason why I'm mentioning this here is because he told you to diligently hearken unto his voice. So buddy thought by the means of shaming me or trying to make me feel bad about not doing what he wanted me to do, that I would do it. See, we're going to look at something in the book of Proverbs. And then we might look at something in Proverbs 7, maybe probably then, I don't know, see how I feel. And then something in 1 Peter chapter 4 behind this, or why I'm mentioning this here. Because you got people that want you to be a partaker of the curse. So they'll try to get you to do something, even though you done stated that I can't do that or I can't. Because with me, I can't do it. If I had it, I'd you know what I'm saying? We'd have paid you, nigga, I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Like I even told the dude because he kept doing it, I'm like, do you want me to say it to you slow? I don't have it. So like a douchebag, he come back and try to do the same thing and talking greasy, hang the phone up, like, what you think, I'm going to call you back and say, oh, okay, here you go, man, you can get that, and then I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you said to me, it wasn't going to change the fact that I don't have it. And I'm telling y'all this to say this here. No matter what a sinner entice you with, you supposed to let him know I ain't got it. Whatever it is you seeking after, I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have it. Proverbs chapter 1 though. Then we'll look at that word of hearken diligently. Because you supposed to sit back and you got to, because we just talked about this the other day. With that 1 Kings 13. And that prophet didn't listen to what Yahuwah told him. The older prophet came and told him, I'm a prophet like you are, man. He said, come on around here, even though you know what Yah told. No matter what he said, you supposed to hearken to what he told you. Ain't nobody supposed to convince you to do something different. You know what I'm saying? How you going to let somebody convince you to do something different? And you're supposed to be hearkening diligently to his commandments in order to receive the blessing to be set on high above all nations upon earth. So how are you going to let that happen? How are you going to let that happen? Watch how much tied to the master than tied to your behavior now. Because if you want to be set high above the earth, then you're going to have to hearken diligently to what he say. And if you're not willing to hearken diligently to what he say, then how do you expect to be lifted up? How do you expect that? How do you expect that? You can't expect that. If you don't come with the intent to listen to what the man says, and with a strong desire and with much discipline and hard work to enact the instruction given, then how do you expect to receive the increase that comes from that? See, everybody like to talk about the fruits of the Ruach and, the spirit and this and this. But then don't nobody really want to do the diligent labor it takes to actually get it. You want the kingdom, but you don't want to do the work required that's necessary to receive it. It's Proverbs about 1-7 what we can look at. Let's just go back to what I'm telling you now. Look at Satan. He going to come offering you stuff. But what value is he really adding to you? What is he adding to your life? Because the master told you the thief don't come but to steal, kill, and destroy. That means he ain't add nothing to you. He's not depositing nothing. He's withdrawing something. See, Hamashiach ain't coming to do withdraw but one thing from you. I'll make it two things. That's sin and death. He coming to deposit eternal life in you. So what you trying to do? What you trying to get? Because Hamashiach is adding something to you. That's why I mentioned that earlier. Because we looking at these blessings is to add something to you. The same things that were added to him. Because his father had value to give him. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at it just like this in the same aspect of what I was telling y'all about earlier, man. What is somebody really, what are they giving? What are you getting from them that you can't replace? You know what I'm saying? I know about 2-3 people around me, I can't replace them. Because what they add. You know what I'm saying? I can't replace them. You know what I'm saying? So I can't lose them. Can't. You know what I'm saying? That's not an option. That's not an option. I can't replace that. You know what I'm talking about? You got to sit back and look at the same thing. Then you got to look at yourself. Then you got to look at yourself. Am I somebody that can be easily replaced? Because I was talking to somebody about something, man. Matter of fact, that was Will I was talking to about that. And Glover. We was talking about a little scenario that Will was dealing with, though. But I was just telling him, like when you look at certain jobs, most employers look at, like I'll give y'all an example. Unskilled labor. You know, restaurant workers, fast food restaurant cooks, cashiers, retail workers, you know what I'm saying? Low-skilled construction workers, you know what I'm saying? They are considered replaceable. You don't hold a skill and value that they feel like can't be found anywhere else. They know that they can get anybody in here to do your job. That you don't possess a skill or a talent that it is necessary for me to retain you as an employee. That's why in a lot of those jobs that I mentioned, you have a high turnover rate as far as it comes to employees getting hired and fired or quitting it or whatever the case may be. Then you have some positions like an aeronautical engineer, certain communication specialists. You know what I'm saying? Certain quote-unquote highly skilled jobs. These people are not easily replaced. Therefore, they lend more value to a company. Therefore, they're not easily moved because we can't get anybody in here to do your job. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of people that do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Or you have the other scenario of people who are so good at what they do that even though we might could find somebody else to do what it is that you do it so well that we can't afford to lose you. You got to ask yourself, are you one of those type of people? That what it is that you do, that you're so good at it, that you know that they can't replace you? Do you know what I'm saying? Or that you have a skill that's not easily found, therefore you add that type of value to where you can't be replaced? And I'm telling y'all this stuff that even if you sit back and you say, you know what, I can be replaced. That's not a negative thing. That's a thing to sit back and look at your talents and your skill sets and be able to bring them up to par to where that can no longer be the thought process of, I don't add value to anyone, therefore I can be replaced. Especially any of y'all that sit back and you running a business or thinking about running a business, you have to sit back and look at the value that you're going to add to your customers to where they want to do business with you, to where I could not replace you because I can't get this level of service or product or skill from anyone other than you. It would be detrimental to my bottom line to replace you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like when you read about a virtuous woman in the book, the things that she do, well, you can't get that anywhere. You can't get that nowhere. You're just not going to, virtuous women just ain't like, they don't grow on trees. They're not everywhere, they're not on every corner. You know what I'm saying? The crazy part is, most men don't recognize one in their face. On the flip side, righteous men just ain't growing on no trees. And the sad part is most women can't recognize one when one is in their face. You know what I'm saying? You can't even recognize it because your value system is messed up. So the things that you value, you're not going to see that in these individuals. So people who seeking to cause you not to hearken diligently under the commandments of your Elohim, see, we read about that in Malachi 3 the other day when they say, what profit? It's vain to walk before Elohim and mourn and keep his ordinances, because they can't see the value in keeping them. They can't see the value of you trusting in him, because they can't see what it is that he's adding to you. Well, we already read in John 14 when he said, if you love me, keep my commandments, and I will give you another comforter. So what we're looking at when you talk about being lifted up above the earth, because you hearken diligently to his commandments, he's referring to what he's going to add or the value that you're going to get. You got to remember something. YAHUAH adds a value. He has something that you can't get anywhere else. That's the value that he adds. You know what I'm saying? This is the value that he has. This is what he has to offer. You have a problem. Your problem is death. He has the product to be able to assist you and alleviate that pain, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. Then he lets you know the terms and conditions of what must be done in order for you to be able to get that product, to be able to alleviate that pain. Because we all have a pain. We all have a problem. You're dust and ashes. You're flesh and blood. Your problem is sin and death. Every last one of us is going to taste death, or if we are not alive at this man's coming, it is guaranteed you're going to take a dirt nap. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed. If you are not awake at this man's coming, you going to hit that grave. Guaranteed. Ain't nothing you can do. There's no discharge in that battle. As for from the natural level. No discharge in that battle. So in order to get the discharge in that battle, you're going to have to hearken diligently to his commandments. Just follow what I'm saying, I'm leading something. You might not think it, but I'm trying to show you something. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. Now, y'all willing to help somebody out. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. See, you understand something now? Fools despise skill, and they despise to be able to be taught in the skill. They hate it. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the Torah of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. That's what you need to remember. But if these sinners come trying to entice you, don't go along with it. Don't go along with it. See, some of y'all problem is, sometimes sinners entice you by telling you what you want to hear. Sometimes they entice you just by telling you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you something real. Boy, and I ain't never been one to do it. I ain't going to tell you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I ain't going to tell you what you want to hear, because I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing crazy or nothing like what I was doing, shoot. One of my people had to check me by something a couple weeks ago. Like, nigga, you just going to have to get over that. You know what I'm saying? Did I necessarily want to hear that? Because it was something that, hey, I don't want them to go in this particular direction. I don't really want them to have to, not to go in the direction. I don't really want them to take on this burden or responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly care to do that. But I needed them to, hey man, look here, man. I'm just not here for you to take that whole burden on your shoulders. I ain't going for that. And I'm going to tell you that. Doesn't matter that I know that you don't want to hear that necessarily, but nigga, you going to hear it and you going to have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? What you going to do after that? You right. What can I say? You right. Don't surround yourself with no yes men. Don't surround yourself with people like that, man. I done seen that up close to a certain extent, how detrimental that is, and I've seen it from afar. I ain't seen it as often up close, but I've seen it from afar. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you want. 1 Peter 4:1. That ain't what you want. Matter of fact, Proverbs 7. I did say Proverbs 7. Let's see if Proverbs 7 that one. That ain't what you want, man. You don't want people telling you what you want to hear. You don't want to have you a team of people that's just going to go along with everything that you say. What we want right here, man? Do we really want Proverbs 7? Says 7:4. That's cool, man. We can only read it, man. This is along the same line. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flatter with her words. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. See, he said, if you call wisdom your sister and understanding your kinswoman, if you say that you are flesh of flesh and bone of bones with the skill to fight, and flesh of flesh, bone of bones with the insight that comes from the skill to fight, and know when to fight and know how to fight. Because see, it's one thing to know how to fight. It's another thing to know when to fight and how to fight. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all this before. This is a strong statement. It's more to a war than just getting it on. The strong rule the weak, and the wise rule the strong. See, the strong only gonna move off brute force. See, the wise know how to be able, through their skill, to be able to dictate to the strong exactly what to do. See, the strong know how to rule the weak, because the weak have no power. They have no defense to fight. So therefore, it doesn't take much intelligence or skill to be able to rule a weak individual. But see, in order to rule the strong, you have to move with wisdom, because the strong are usually simple. You know what I'm saying? All they really know how to do is use brute force. See, but you got to have the understanding to be able to know when to... Because see, sometimes you can fight battles, and sometimes you got to know when not to fight. You know what I'm saying? See, I just had a conversation about this. Some of y'all might know, like I said, like I detailed a real intricate and detailed plan to, if I wanted to fight, this is how I would do it. Because I have the insight to know how to do it, but I also have the insight to know not to do it. Or when not to do it, or when to do it. See, that's what understanding coming at. You got the skill for war, but then you know when to war and when not to war. You know, some battles ain't worth fighting. Because see, sometimes you seek to win a battle, but you're going to lose the war. See, sometimes winning a battle is not as important as winning the war. You know what I'm saying? You have to think about stuff like that. Do you want to win the war, or do you want to win a battle? If you look at a lot of military tacticians, it's a lot of things they did that they conceded certain battles because they were looking to win the war, because we can't win this fight right now, because I'm thinking further down the line. See, I'm telling you this here right this here because sometimes it ain't good for you to pick fights or certain things because your peace is more important. You know, you say you go ahead and surrender and you let them have that battle, because I'll win the war in the long run. Because you think when I done surrendered and gave that up, you really think you're in a position of strength and power, when really I might be using that as a means to lull you into a false sense of security before I actually strike and destroy you. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually know how to be thinking and move your brain to be moving ahead. See, that's why he said I beheld the simple ones. And see, we're not going to read all that, but then this woman comes and she entices this man, because she had been flattering him with her words. See, but if you would have made understanding your kinswoman and called wisdom your sister, then these things would have rested in you, and you would have known how to fight to not consent to this person, because you would have foreseen what was going to happen. See, we just looking at it on a natural level in Proverbs chapter 7. He couldn't see what was going to happen, therefore, because he dealt with this woman, it killed him. It killed him. Because he didn't hearken diligently to the commandments of YAHUAH. Because he told you in Deuteronomy chapter 4 that these commandments are your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. And we know that the understanding is coming. That's the son of Elohim, that we might have eternal life, to dwell in him and him in us. And we know he's been made unto us wisdom. So he's your skill to war and he's your insight. So when you walking around devoid of that, then you don't have the value that he has. Therefore, you are a sitting duck. And you're going to consent to people who come to you with flattering words, telling you what you want to hear, stroking your ego, making you feel better about the bad decisions that you're making. You have to be careful for that. I'm just telling you what y'all love, and that's the truth, so you say yourself. You can do what you want to do. That's guaranteed. You can do what you want to do. All I can do is give you the best, the tools available to fight the best battle that you can possibly fight. What you do with those tools and what you do with them weapons is on you. I had nothing to do with that. I can't swing the sword for you, and I can't throw the shield up to block an attack. I can't. I can't fight it for you. You got to fight it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I can't fight it for you. Because that's real talk, man. You can do what you want to do. You don't have to listen to me. All I'm saying is what the book say. You ain't got to listen to y'all, but you definitely going to deal with the consequences of repercussions, whether they be positive or whether they be negative, on whether you choose to listen or whether you choose not to listen. And that's up to each and every one of y'all that can hear the sound of my voice and hear this man's word reverberate in your heart, mind, and soul. You can do what you want to do. Is righteousness what you want to do, or is sin what you want to do? Which one is it? 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. We come back to Daniel chapter 9. Oh, they went to sleep pretty quick. Well, they laid down pretty quick tonight. All them up. They didn't do no fight. They took a nap today. Oh, okay. Let me say, I was that quick lay down like they ain't nap. I ain't even hear one of them cry. I bet Lizzie in there sitting there looking with her leg crossed, laying in the bed like I'm plotting my escape right now. Huh? Well, she's up on the top bunk. Oh, they laying up there together. Ain't that sweet? They don't say, you know, they love each other. They sleep together all the time. Climb up there together. I'm sleep with my sister. I ain't mad at her. We're going to see what little Iggy do when he big enough to start climbing himself on up there. He can climb up there yet? No. Yeah, give him about another month or so. We had to watch him. He looked like he might fall off there a couple times. For as much then as, this is 1 Peter 4:1. For as much then as Mashiach have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin, that he should no longer live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of Elohim. You shouldn't be living your life to the desires of men, whether it be to yourself or others. That's why he says, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Because if you're going to hearken diligently to his commandments, then you have to be willing to understand that you can't live your life anymore to the desires of other people and of yourself. See, a lot of times we get caught up because we seek to want to please other people. Other people who may not necessarily be on what you own. I'm going to say this here just because it was just mentioned, you know what I'm saying? And it's real, and I said it numerous times, man. Only thing a man got in this world is his word and his testicles. Some of y'all niggas is literally nuts like testicles. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a brain, you can't think straight. But baby, all you have is your word and your respect, your manhood, because your manhood is your respect. And you should do everything in your power to make sure that you keep your respect. And that you don't sacrifice your respect, your self-respect first and foremost, because if you respect yourself, then other people have no choice but to respect you. You know what I'm saying? You got to carry yourself like a man of respect. You got to move like a man of respect. You got to talk like a man of respect. You got to handle business like a man of respect, because then people will gravitate towards you. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that there's something of value positively that they can add to you. You know what I'm saying? You really, really got to think about that and look at that. If all somebody can add to you is money, clothes, trips, gifts, automobiles, that person's not really adding anything to you. Because that's not really anything to offer, because anybody can do that. Anybody can take you somewhere. Anybody can buy you an outfit. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can buy you a car. Anybody can do that. That's not adding value. That's giving you stuff. Stuff that depreciates. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that depreciates. That means it drops in value. So what are they really giving you? Because sometimes people try to buy affection with stuff. I remember when we were younger, my homeboy said that that's the only, how he was raised, that's how they showed that they love somebody, if they bought you something. Because that's what his people did. So that's what he knew. See, sometimes we look at people and you get frustrated because they don't think or do things how you do it. And everybody's not raised the same. So me knowing that, because he used to express that, because I wasn't raised like that. So we would have these conversations. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't raised that buying stuff was how you showed somebody that you loved them. Because we didn't have stuff, we didn't have money to buy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we were just having this conversation as far as how he did things with his daughter. Now, I don't have any kids. But I view Muffin as if that was my own child because of how I had to take care of her. So I didn't have necessarily, before I started selling dope, the ability to buy her stuff. So I had to show her I loved her by actually showing her that I loved her, just not by buying her stuff. Yeah, when I sold her, bought her stuff, look, Muffin ain't cared nothing about that stuff. Cared nothing about no toys here, no outfit here, no candy here. Who cares about that? That stuff vanishes and goes away. But the things that you teach them and the love that you show them and all those things, that value right there, that stays for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? The most humblest thing as a child for me, because I'm sitting there saying I was a child even though I was a teenager and all this here, was looking and seeing that my sister looked up to me and mimicked me and wanted to be like me. You know what I'm saying? That's a very humbling thing because that means you have influence over another human being's mind and thought process, and that is a very precious thing and a responsibility that must be taken very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the power to affect change in a person's mind frame for positive or negative. See, a lot of times people don't sit back and look at that you have that type of sway over somebody and that you can actually add value to them, whether it be positive or negative, based on what you're doing, if you seeing that they want to mimic your behavior. Now, we turn around and say, we look up to a Mashiach and say that we want to be like him and mimic his behavior. And then he is sending his servants all across the world to give you his word so that you can be able to have the ability to get that value to become like him, and we shun it to do what we want to do. Not knowing that when he give you that same word that rests in you, I ain't talking about no preaching either. I'm talking about that same word that rests in you, that other people might view you and how you live and how you conduct yourself and say they want to be like you, when in actuality they don't realize they want to be like a Mashiach because they see him in you. And now you have the ability to add that manner of value to this person's life. Do you think about that type of stuff? Does that really resonate in your heart? Because if it did, you might not do the things that you do or say the things that you say or go to places you go. Because now you would no longer be living your flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of Elohim, if you follow what I'm saying. Verse 3. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revilings, and banquetings, and abominable idolatries, wherein they may think it strange that you run not with them to the excess of riot, speaking evil of you. Because they don't want you to hearken unto these commandments, man. If righteousness belongs to Elohim and that righteousness is his son, then you can't be listening to these sinners. You better start hearkening diligently to what he got to say. Back to Daniel chapter 9. It might seem like everything I'm talking about ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but you'll see it when I get done. And if you don't see it when I get done, maybe he just wanted to blind your eyes and cover your ears and harden your heart. And if be so, praise be to Yah, because he's righteous. And if it is his will for your eyes to be open, and your ears to be open, and your heart to be softened, well, praise be to Yah, for he is righteous. Verse 7. O Yahuwah, righteousness belong unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Yehudah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, unto all Yasharah that are near, that are far off, through all countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. O Yahuwah, to us belong confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. To Yahuwah Elohim belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahuwah Elohim to walk in his Torah, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Yasharah have transgressed thy Torah, even by departing, that they may not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the Torah of Moses, the servant of Elohim, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil from under the whole Shamahim, that have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. As it is written in the Torah of Moses, all this evil is come upon us, yet we made not our prayer before Yahuwah Elohim, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Therefore hath Yahuwah watched upon the evil and brought it upon us, for Yahuwah Elohim is righteous in all his works which he do. For we obeyed not his voice. See, the reason why I'm sitting back looking at it, because he tell you to hearken diligently so you can be lifted up. So we see the reverse come from you not listening, from you doing your own thing. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:1, and let's look at Sunday's 4th is just here. Y'all just bear with me. I'm just taking my time walking the dog. You know, we're trying to walk these dogs so we can live. That's all we're trying to do. Just walk these dogs so we can live. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. Some of y'all too young to know what song that is and what he was actually talking about, but it is what it is. When we look at the word for diligent, it's shema. And y'all should know what it is. It means to hear, to listen, to obey. To hear, perceive by ear. With attention or interest to listen to give heed, to yield to be obedient, to be regarded. So he said, if you hearken unto his commandments, you'll be lifted up high above the entire earth. Well, let's look at something in John chapter 12, verse 46. And after that, Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 7. Make it verse 5. So in order for you to be lifted up upon the earth to get the blessing, we have to first look and see, did your master do this to get the blessing? Because we looked at him on the curses, but like I say, most brews don't like to look at the blessings. They just want to focus on the curses. And we know they focus on the curses as a means to identify who the children of Yasharah are. And that's cool, you know what I mean? You know, I ain't against it, you know what I'm talking about? You know, but after a period of time, there has to be a progression to move past that. You know, we ain't never really just focused on the curses all the time. We've just looked at the curses to see how Mashiach took them on, but we looked at him as he took them on to be able to remove them from you. But we haven't never came back on the flip side to look at the blessings, to see how his obedience was able to bring those blessings to you. The same way his obedience brought them curses on you to be able to remove them curses from you. So on the Mashiach side, the blessings and the curses fell on him because of his obedience. See, he had to obey to take on a curse for your disobedience, to remove your disobedience from you. That's why he said, you haven't made your prayer that you might turn from your iniquities. Notice that he didn't say that he prayed Yah would turn you from your iniquity. He said you ain't went and confessed to your Elohim that you have committed iniquity, that you might stop doing them. Because he ain't finna snap those fingers and say, my son has prayed unto me. Let me snap my fingers and take away his sin. No, nigga, you got to stop sinning. Nigga, show some self-control. Show some discipline. Show yourself to be a man. Men are disciplined. If a man is not disciplined, he's not a man. He's a little boy. He's a male. Men are disciplined. A grown man does not need someone to tell him what to do. If somebody got to tell you, now don't get it, because there's certain constructs. If you're in a business, if you work for a company, then of course these people have to instruct you on what to do once you come into that company. It's the same way, like, of course, you don't know what to do when you first start hearing the word. But when you begin to hear the word over a period of time, you know what to do. This is why he said you should have no need that any man teach you. Because once you receive the Ruach HaKodesh, the word is in you. Nobody should ever tell you what to do. You already know what to do. No man should have anybody telling them what to do. If you call yourself to be a man, you already know what you got to do. Go do it. Even if that means doing something you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? Look here, right? You look at the master. The master wanted to die. But then being in his flesh, he sat back and be like, man, look here, man. You let this cup pass. But he showed himself to be a man, though. Because this is what I got to do, so let me go do what I got to do. Even if it's not necessarily what I want to do. Because it's people dependent on me. You know what I'm saying? It's people dependent on me. I got to do this. It's somebody dependent on me. So when you sit back and look at it, if it's somebody dependent on you, is you doing what you got to do for them? Or you just worrying about you? Because then you're a selfish bastard and you're not a man. You know what I'm saying? Men don't make mistakes. When you say make mistakes, men can't afford to make mistakes because it's costly. Because it can affect other people. So a man has to be right and exact in his decision making. Because it's real bad if I make a mistake. It's not to say that you will never make mistakes. It's saying to be more calculated in your movements because we can't afford to make mistakes. Because 9 times out of 10, a man got somebody that's dependent on him. You know what I'm saying? See, I do business with certain people. They dependent on me that there's certain things that I do that I execute properly. That we can achieve the goals that we done set. To obtain the objectives that we have charted out for ourselves. They can't afford for me to make no mistake. See, I just sat both of them down and told them, I take responsibility that you in this situation and you in this situation because I ain't did what I needed to do to get you out of that situation. That's my fault. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that one on the chin. I'm going to have to sit back and adjust and change something up to be able to change that because you not where I said you was going to be at. You know what I'm saying? So that means I got to do more because I ain't doing enough to change that situation. You know what I'm saying? As a man, that's what we supposed to do. If it's people depending on you, it's people riding with you, it's people working with you, and you got to be able to stand up and say, you know what? I ain't been doing this right here to get this here done, and I got to change that. You know what I'm saying? You got kids, you supposed to sit back and look at your kid depending on you. What you doing? Doesn't matter if you don't want to do this. Nigga, go do it. They depending on you. That man's flesh told him, I don't want to die. He said, it don't matter. My children depending on me. I got to go die. Nigga, if you got kids, nigga, if you got a shovel doo-doo, nigga, you better go get a shovel, nigga. Nigga, I ain't got no kids, so I don't have that problem. You know what I'm saying? But if I did, boy, it wouldn't matter what I do for a living, boy. I'm going to get that done. They depending on me. They can't eat, daddy ain't got it. They can't wear, maybe next week. You know what I'm saying? They can't live in, let me see what I can do. They can't dwell in that. So I mean, I got to do what I got to do, man. They depending on me. You know what I'm saying? How are you supposed to look at it if you got another human life depending on you? Well, you got to do what you got to do and let y'all take care of the rest. All you can do is handle your end and let y'all take care of the rest. That's all you can do. Long as you put forth that foot forward and put forth that effort and give the maximum energy you can give, you gotta let y'all take care of the rest out of that. You can't. That's why we read that Luke chapter 12. You can't stress yourself now. You know what I'm saying? Long as you seeking the kingdom, he'll add that on to you. But you know you gotta take care of your end. Let him do the rest. Cause he ain't gonna pull no rabbit out no hat, nigga. He ain't no magician. It's a living Elohim. You gotta make something happen on your end. He gonna make something happen on his end. And making something don't happen on your end is that you believe and do what he tell you to do. Do you listen with the intent to do what he say do? He told Jeremiah, go grab this girdle and throw it in the dirt. He told Isaiah, walk around butt naked. They listened with the intent to do exactly what he said. He told Abraham, get from amongst your kindred. He got up with the intent to do exactly what he said. Abraham got the blessing because he went and did what the man told him to do. Because when the man spoke, he listened with the intent to do what he said. He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the body. How many of y'all you listening with an ear with the intent on doing exactly what the man tell you to go do? Whether you want to go do it or not. There was something that man sent me to go do about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't necessarily want to go do it. Didn't matter though. Didn't matter though. See, that's the biggest problem that we have. We seek to do our own will and not our own. Don't matter if you want to go do it or not. Go hell at it. It's for his esteem and his honor. It ain't for you. If it's for you, it's for you to learn something from the situation. I can say from the thing that I went to go do that I ain't necessarily care to go do, I learned a lot of things from that situation. Too many things to mention. What I asked for, man. John chapter 12, verse 46. And after that, Hebrews 10 and 5. Thank the Lamb. Praise Yahuwah Ba'Shem Yahushua for the word. Somebody might hear me. Somebody might feel me. Somebody might not. I don't know. 12 and 46. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believe on me should not abide in darkness. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that reject me and receive not my words hath one that judge him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak. See, this man listened. You know, he say, so far as the Father said unto him. That means Yahushua listened with the intent to obey and to do whatever his Father told him to do. See, he tell you, he say, at the head of the man, at the head of the woman is the man. And at the head of the man is Mashiach. And at the head of Mashiach is Elohim. Because Mashiach listened to his Abba with the intent on doing what he said. See, Hebrews 10 and 5. Do you listen to the word with the intent of doing what your Elohim tell you to do? Or are you listening to the word just to have something to do, or just to have information to spew to another individual? What is the purpose of what you're listening for? 10 and 4. Hebrews 10 and 4. Woo! That's some high quality H2O right there, boy. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sin. Wherefore, when he come into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou would not, but a body thou hast prepared me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me, to do thy will, O Elohim. Above, when he said sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offering for sin thou would not, neither had pleasure therein which are offered by the Torah. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O Elohim. He take away the first that he may establish the second. Now, case in point, we starting back, sitting back, looking at it, as he said he came to do his will because he hearkened diligently to observe, to do all his commandments. Well, we have to look at what was the commandment of the Father. What did he send the Son to do? He sent the Son to take away the sins of the world. So when we look at the word observe, it's shamar, and it's to keep, it's to guard, it's to give heed, it's to watch over, to retain or treasure up in memory. So when you sit back and you look at that, you're observing, you're holding in your mind what he told you to do. See, look at John chapter 18, right? And look at what the Master told Pilate. Let's just look at what the Master told Pilate. Let's just look at how he observed what his Father sent him to do. We won't necessarily read no epistle letters about it. Just hear it from the man's mouth. Just hear what the man's mouth. Just hear what he had to say. Verse 37 is better. Say, Pilate therefore said unto him, art thou a king then? Yahushua answered, thou say I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause I came into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth hear my voice. So everyone that's of the truth or of him is going to hearken diligently to his voice, and they're going to follow him. He say, my sheep hear my voice. John 10 and 25, we just let the man tell you so. Now remember now, he said if you hearken diligently, he will lift you up above the earth. See, we're looking at a concept of this blessing, that hearkening to this word, because faith come by hearing and hearing come by the word of Elohim. So to have faith and trust in the living Elohim, you got to hear his word. You got to hear his voice. You're not going to get the blessing of being lifted up above all that are upon the earth if you don't listen with the intent to do and then guard what you heard. Now we can see why a lot of people not going to get in the man's kingdom, because they're not listening with the desire to guard it. What are you listening for? YAHUAH, this is John 10:25. YAHUAH answered them, I told you and you believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you believe not, because you are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Now swing over here to John chapter 8, right? Just John chapter 8, you know what I mean? And verse 42. And let's sit back and let's look at something. Because he say his sheep hear his voice and they follow him. That means his sheep are going to hearken diligently to what he has to say. See, you say, you know, in the book of Proverbs, Solomon sat back and told you, he said, see a man diligent in his labor, he will stand before kings. A man that listens with the intent to do, a man that is really ready to labor and do what he had to do, will stand before king. See, are you diligent in your labor? See, if you slothful in natural things, I know you're going to be slothful in spiritual things. That's just a given. That's just a given. How you gonna be going hard in natural things, but then slacking? Going hard in spiritual things, but you slacking natural things. That don't make no common sense. Those two things go hand in hand. Because you got to be able to deal in the natural before you can deal in the spiritual. See, hold on before I read it, John chapter 8. See, just look at something the Master said in John chapter 3 first. Hold on. John 3 and 11. Oh, thank the Lamb for the word. Hallelujah for YAHUAH the word. Then listen what the Master tells you. Truly, truly, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and we testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. See, that's the saying he told him, man. He said, man, we speak about what we know, and we tell you about what we saw. See, you know what be messing a lot of people up in their lifetime, man? Because they go exactly against what this man just said. They speak about things they don't know, and they testify things they ain't seen. You know what I'm saying? So you go to testifying and bearing witness of things that are true that you didn't even see yourself. You don't even know if it's true. A nigga told you that. You speak about things you don't even know what you're talking about. That's why the confusion of faces be coming in there. That's where all the craziness be coming in there. Because people speak on things of which they don't know and testify things that they ain't seen. If I have told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? So this man sat back and told you, if you ain't, come on back to John chapter 8, if you ain't even believe of these earthly things I'm telling you, how you going to believe of these things that's a shamahim? So if you ain't handling your business on no earthly level, then how you going to expect me to believe you handling things on the spiritual level? I'm not going for that. I feel like Hall & Oates. I can't go for that. No. No can do. Dang. You got to call Will back, his call drop.
To an automatic voice message.
Hold on, man. I got to call the line from my phone. His phone done died. I got to pay the 1 cent. Oh, well.
The number you are dialing is outside of your plan and will incur a 1 cent per minute charge if you continue. You can hang up now to avoid the charge. Welcome. Services for there are 7 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
All right, y'all. Y'all hear me? Yep. Yeah. All right. So, if you're not handling things in the natural, ain't no way on y'all's green earth you handle nothing in the spiritual. You ain't going to convince me of that. That's for certain. John 8 and 42. YAHUAH said unto them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I proceed forth and came from Elohim. Neither came of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech, even because you cannot hear my word? You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Oh, sorry, I hung it up. Okay. He said, when he speak a lie, he speak of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Which of you convince me of a sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of Elohim hears Elohim's words. You hear them not, therefore, because you are not of Elohim. So that's a hard word that he's speaking. See, but the same thing went down in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? The people didn't hear that word because they were not of Elohim. They were not of him. They were not of him. They were not of him. That's why they couldn't hear it. You sit back and you look at a lot of people and you wonder why the word don't register in their heart. Because he said you would guard it. You would treasure it. See, look at something in Psalms 119, about verse 8. And when you hearken diligently with the intent to listen, you'll guard this man's heart word in your inward parts. See, we don't guard it in our inward parts because you're not listening with the intent to do it. Therefore, you don't guard it. After that, Matthew chapter 13 is probably about verse 40. It's not a treasure to you. It's not valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? Psalms 119. I'll take about verse 10. Just go straight to verse 10 when you all else. He said, with my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. See, that means you've observed it, you treasure it, you keep it in mind. See, the master told you the Ruach would bring to remembrance all things that he has said unto you. What I just said I wanted to say? Oh, Matthew 13 and 40. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why, because you loved him and you kept his commandment, because you hearkened diligently to it. Therefore, you will be lifted up upon the whole earth. Just follow me, because I'm going to show you how that relates to the master if you ain't got no idea, if it ain't already crossed your mind already. Some of y'all should have already crossed your mind. I say 13 to 40. Make it 44. He said, again, the kingdom of Shamahim is like unto a treasure that a man have hid in the field. That when he have found, he hide, and for joy go and sell all that he have and buy that field. And the kingdom of Shamahim is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls. For when he had found one pearl of great price, he went and sold all that he had and bought it. See, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, that's what he said. Hid in the field, and when he found, he hide, and for joy, therefore, go and sell all that he have and buy that field. You know, and when you sit back and you look at it, that the words seem to be hidden. But when you hide it upon your heart, there's a great treasure in them. Because see, the master told you in Luke 17 and 20 that the kingdom of Elohim don't come by observation. For the kingdom of Elohim is in you. And that's the word of faith of which we speak. That you don't have to go to Shamahim for nobody to bring it unto you. You don't have to go under the earth or in the seas for nobody to bring it unto you. For it's in your word, it's in your mouth, and it's in your heart. It's hidden there. And it's of a great treasure. And if you hide it there, you won't sin against the man. Because you look at it of great price and value. Because you listen with the intent to hear. And as you know, the new covenant is the word written in your heart and in your inward parts. And it'll bring it to memory. Which goes back to what I would tell you. You won't have need for anybody to tell you what to do or what not to do. You already know what to do. John 3 and 14. And John 12 and 34 after that. So let's look at about how the master hearkened diligently. Obviously, we've observed this man hearkened diligently unto his commandment. Matter of fact, Let's look at Matthew 26 before we look at that. Another instance. Because I want you to sit back and look at how this man hearkened diligently to his father's commandments and observed them and guarded them. Matthew 26, about verse 55. Verse 52, actually. Well, 50. And Yahushua said unto them, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then Yahushua said unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Think thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of Malachim? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled that thus it must be? Because that man told you in John chapter 6, I did not come to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me, and which was to give my life, my body for the world. My flesh was the bread of life, and that bread was my flesh that I'm gonna give to the world. That the whole purpose of me coming, listening to obey was to die. He said, should not Mashiach have suffered to enter into his esteem? O fools and slow of heart. Straight up, this man told him that was the commandment that I was given, that I have to die. I hearkened diligently to that. I remembered that. This man rebuked Peter and told him, Get behind me, Satan, for thou desirest the things that be a man and not the things of Elohim. When he told him, I have to die. This is the commandment that I've been given. I listened with that with the intent to do it, and I guarded in my heart that this must be done. So this man was lifted up from the earth because of that, high above the earth. Let's see, John 3 and 14. So guess what that means? You're gonna have to die with the man for you to be lifted up above the earth, in order for you to get that same blessing. And see, what this also is dealing with is the first rain that we talking about. See, the master got up on some latter rain, you could say, to a certain extent. But then we looking at that first rain that's going to get you lifted up from the earth because you listen with the intent to obey and guarded those commandments, and you were diligently doing this. See, where's your diligence at? You know what I'm saying? Diligence is perseverance. You know what I'm saying? See, most people that are successful, they're diligent, they persevere, they're disciplined, they're driven. You know, most people quit. You know, it's a little picture, right? I'm gonna just like this here because I sent this to somebody. I'm gonna read this here. Now, there's one thing on it we don't agree with, but nevertheless, it's a picture of Sylvester Stallone. It says that he was expelled from 14 different schools. He dropped out of college to pursue acting, went on thousands of auditions, and still didn't get no work. He got put out his apartment and slept in a bus station for weeks. Say he got so desperate that he went to doing pornos. He said he got down to $100 and finally got his break at age 30. I mean, he kept on fighting in the face of all adversity. He persevered through that. Now, the master told you in the 16th chapter of John that in the world you shall have tribulations, but be of good cheer because he will overcome the world. You know, in the book of Acts, in the 22nd verse of the 14th chapter, it says, through much tribulation, you must enter into the kingdom of Elohim. So you have to be able to persevere. You know what I'm saying? Because there can be pitfalls and pratfalls and potholes and all manner of obstacles in your way. And are you going to allow these obstacles to deter you from your goals, or are you going to man up and stand tall and fight through it and keep pushing? Because it's easy to quit. There's no strength in quitting. I'm going to tell you something. Nobody remembers quitters. Nobody remembers the losers. They only remember the winners. At the end of the day, YAHUAH is not going to remember any quitters. Those who quit on the word and quit on the ruach, to walk in their flesh and to seek to plead themselves, no one will remember you. And when I say that, meaning your name ain't written in the Lamb's book of life. There's no book of remembrance written for you. He will not remember you. He will only remember the winners. Those who overcame and kept on pushing and endured through all things. The man said, he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. Like Paul said, I fought the good fight of faith. A crown laid up for me. I kept swinging and punching to the end. I ain't never quit. I didn't never quit. I didn't let, Romans chapter 8, verse 34. You get to John 3 and 14 in a minute. Romans 8 and 34. I don't know why I thought I was going to hit every blessing in here. I don't know why I be doing that to myself like that. I do not know why I do it. Every time, it never happens. 8 and 35. Romans 8 and 35. And you know what's the worst part of this, little muffin? We've been doing this for 4 years, ain't we? Thinking we're going to hit some hope. And I'm talking about this. This got to be at least about the 4th or 5th, 100th time you done heard me say that. I guess I ain't never going to learn this, little muffin. You'll never going to learn. It don't matter. Little muffin still love me, though. And it says, who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or the sword? So because you got a little bit of trouble, you're not going to listen to the commandments, you're going to go sin because you got a little bit of trouble. You got a little bit of stress, you're going to go sin because of that. Oh, I know what it is. You being persecuted for the word, so I guess you're going to sin them. Because Hannah, Mishael, and Azariah didn't sin because they had a little persecution. Daniel didn't do it. When Mordecai had a little bit of distress because Haman wanted to kill him, he ain't go sin for that. He went and sought his Elohim in that situation. Same thing Daniel and the three Ibrahim boys did. They did the same thing. Oh man. So when Jacob had a little bit of tribulation, when Esau was coming for him, oh, he sought the Elohim. That's what he did. Oh man, I ain't even know. Hold on. So when there was a little famine in the land, you know what I mean? In the time of Elisha, they had a little famine in the land. You know what I'm talking about? They went and sought their Elohim. They ain't separate him from the love of his Elohim because there was a little famine in the land. So I just ain't got time to go through all these stories. I could just come back and just run that down, just some of the stuff he's talking about. So you can see that there. Or a little nakedness. Like what I mentioned, Isaiah walking naked. Did that separate him from the love of Mashiach? He was naked. Or a little peril of the sword. What about when Hezekiah seen the Assyrians coming, that they were going to kill him? Did that separate them from the love of Mashiach? Verse 36, as it's written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor malachim, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Elohim, which is in Yahushua HaMashiach, our master. So how do we let all this stuff come in to separate us from this man? Because what's separate, these things coming through, and then because he say, what have separated you from your Elohim? But your iniquities and your sins, they have separated you from your Elohim. So then you turn around and look at these situations come up to try your heart. Then you mess around, you done failed the test. And who says you get to take a retake? Who says you get to take a retake? And then I was talking about it earlier too. You know why some people don't get to take a retake? Because they ain't shamed. See, they have a whore's forehead. They refuse to be ashamed. They don't have a humble and contrite heart when they do things out of pocket that he might actually have mercy on you because you shown that godly sorrow because it done hit you or what you done did. You ain't shamed. I can remember this, man. I used to hate hearing this here. It used to just irk me to no end. YAHUAH knows. I be talking to this nigga, and a nigga hit me with a, oh well, it's done. That mean you really ain't shamed. When a nigga hit you with a, oh well, or it's done now, you ain't shamed. Do not shame. That man is going to resist you. That man ain't going to forgive you for that. That man ain't going to forgive you for that. You know, Ahab got way too far out of pocket to the point, I'm going to kill this nigga. And his whole bloodline. But the fact that that man humbled himself and wept before him, and YAHUAH had done seen through the man of this works of this man's heart, showing how he humbled himself to him, when that judgment was pronounced on him, that man said, you know what, I ain't going to do it in your time. Didn't change the fact he was going to kill him. Because nigga, you sin, I got to see you. He said, I by no means clear to get you. I'm going to see you. But it's the fact that he showed you a humble and contrite heart will move YAHUAH to have mercy. That's what the book says. He said a broken heart he will not despise. A humble and contrite heart he will not hate, that he won't reject it. But a lot of times people are not shamed. They not shamed. You really not shamed about what you mad because you got caught. You know what I'm saying? But you really ain't shamed though. Woo! John 3 and 14. You know a nigga ain't shamed when they can talk bluntly about their iniquities. Oh, that nigga ain't shamed. You can tell when a nigga shamed. I just think about when somebody told me they was in a certain situation, how they was shamed. I could hear in their voice when they were telling it to me they was shamed. You know what I'm saying? Just shame. Niggas like, I can't make that mistake again. I can't do that again. 3 and 14. Saying, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the Son of Man must be lifted up. He got to be lifted up. Let's see why. We don't even need John chapter 12. Because he said, when the Son of Man be lifted up, he'll draw all men to him. Colossians chapter 3. Verse 1. Because what we're dealing with is if you've been immersed into this man's death. And like we read in 1 Peter chapter 4, that he that suffereth in the flesh cease from sin, because he done armed himself with the mind of Mashiach, that he might cease from sin. Therefore you be resurrected from the dead. Therefore that 1 Thessalonians 4 come into play. That when Mashiach come, the dead of Mashiach shall rise first, and we will meet him in the air, and you shall be high above all the earth, because you hearken diligently unto his commandment. Because he said, if you love me, keep my commandments, and I will give you another comforter, which is the Ruach of truth, which the world cannot receive, because it neither have seen him nor known him. All because you believed on his Son. So therefore that Ruach will dwell upon you to lift you up on high, to meet him. That you can dwell with him in places in Shamayim, like Paul wrote to you. But you got to listen with the intent to obey and guard this man in your heart and remember him. What's wrong with her? She captain. If you then be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where Mashiach sit on the right hand of Elohim. Set your affections on the things above and not the things on the earth. See, if you done set your affection on doing what this man told you to do, and walking diligently in his commandments and guarding him, that he can set you up. Because Mashiach is called great. He's the King of kings and Master of masters. This man say, he that overcometh will sit on my right hand of my throne as I sit on. I'm going to just read it. Hold on. Because I ain't even saying what the man said, right? So we just going to read all the paper. Let me finish this right here. Set your affections on the things above and not the things on the earth, for you are dead and your life is hid with Mashiach and Elohim. When Mashiach, who is our life, shall appear, then you shall also appear with him in esteem. And you're going to meet him in the sky. You're going to be high above all the earth. Why are you going to be high above all the earth? Because when you look at when you're immersed, you crucifying yourself unto him. And when he was crucified, he was raised above, high upon the whole earth. He was lifted up. When you get immersed and you crucified in his death, you lift it up. And when you come up out the water, you mimicking his resurrection and you lift it up again. All if you just listen to him. Say, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. This is why we talked about the other day. That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but the power of Elohim. That your faith should not stand in the wisdom. He said, our preaching is not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but demonstration of the power in the Ruach. That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but the power of Elohim. Where the king's word is, there is power. When you sit back and look at it, if you ain't got no power and no freedom, it's because you're not listening to the man and guarding his word and remembering it in your inward part. And that's on you. Revelation 3 and 20. Actually, 3 and 20 cool. That's on you. I ain't got nothing to do with that. He said, you have not so learned if you've been taught of YAHUAH. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's all on you. That's all on you. Because if it was something you want to know, y'all know you could call. You know it's 3 channels. You know what I'm saying? We hit it 3 times a week. Well, that's on you. You're going to have to take responsibility for that. You know what some real leaders do, like I told you before, and some real men do? They will take responsibility for things that go wrong that might not even necessarily be their fault. Just like the master did. That man took responsibility for your death and your iniquities and your sin, and he ain't do nothing wrong. See, he did no wrong. No guile was found in his mouth. He committed no sin. The just for the unjust. That man took responsibility for what you did. That's a leader right there. That man stood up and say, it's my fault. I'll take it. Say, how is your fault? Because it is. But you ain't do nothing wrong. But I did. Well, what did you do? That's the same thing what happened with Pilate and his wife. They say, what things did this man have done? He ain't done nothing to miss. He ain't did nothing wrong. The master said, I did do something wrong. Say, what did you do? Say, I ain't do nothing, but I did it though. See, that's leadership and that's love right there. How many of y'all will stand up as men and take responsibility for something that you ain't even really, that wasn't even your fault? Because you sit back and look at that I'm the leader and the director of this situation, I'll stand up and take that. You know what I'm saying? That I'll take the blame for everything just to shield somebody I love from that reproach. The reproaches of them that reproached thee fell on me. I'll take that blame to cover you. I'll take it so you ain't got to wear it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't many people gonna do that. That's why he said there a righteous man won't even dare to die. But as men, we supposed to be willing to do that. We supposed to be willing to take responsibility for all things and directing leadership and take blame for things even when it ain't your fault. See, because I tell you in sports, like with a quarterback, he get too much praise when things going good. And he get too much blame when things going bad. But a good quarterback and a good leader would deflect the praise onto his teammates and take all the blame even if it ain't his fault. You know what I'm saying? That's what a good leader gonna do. When the praise come, he gonna disperse that praise amongst his team. He ain't gonna take that praise unto himself because he knows it's not about him. You know what I'm saying? At the same token, he'll cover his team and take the blame even if he don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? That's what the master did. When the praise came, they said, there's no man. He said, good master. He said, there's no man good but Elohim. When the praise came, he deflected it. Put it on his father. Gave him the esteem. He deflected it. But when the blame came, he took all of it. When the punishment for sin and iniquity and death had to come, he took all of it with no hesitation. Took it on and said, I'll take the blame for that. I'll do it. That's a man. That's what men are supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what men are supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. And we ain't got no reason to go against it because that's book. That's what your king did. Don't say you want to be like Mashiach and when it come time to take some blame, even if you ain't got nothing to do with it, you ain't going to take it. Don't sit back and say you a Mashiach and when praise come, you don't deflect it. He ain't make himself a no reputation. He was a plain man dwelling in the body. Just dwelling in a tent. Just a temporary dumb, just a plain man. Ain't no fanfare, ain't no reputation, ain't no thrills or frills over here, man. I'm just me. I'm just doing me. I'm just a guy. I'm just passing through. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at that type of stuff. Do we really have the understanding, the insight to where we mimicking this man and his thought process and how we move, or we just talking about that? You know what I mean? Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcome, I will grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the houses. That's what you're going to get if you listen. With the intent to do. And then guard it and treasure it in your inward parts. This is how you'll be lifted up upon the whole earth. Because you'll be lifted up with Mashiach. You'll be lifted up in the likeness of his resurrection, and you will meet him in the air. How many of us really truly desire that? And if we really truly desire that, are we diligent and guarding what this man told us? Back to Deuteronomy chapter 28. I'm just trying to put something in. I'm just trying to drop a bug in your ear, man. You do what you want to with it. You do what you want to with it. Verse 2. I can't even go past verse 3. Because verse 4 is a whole other topic in and of itself. Because it's a whole lot of other stuff when it comes to these blessings. And most high willing, we get them all. We just dealt with one. I say I ain't going to keep y'all too long this evening. Because we've been running. With the exception of, with the exception of yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Because we started last Monday night. Then went Tuesday night. Then Wednesday night. Thursday night. Shabbat night. Shabbat day. Of course, that Shabbat night didn't get on tape because we had, Matthew wanted to come through, you know what I'm saying? Knock a little power out. You know what I'm saying? Sunday night. Monday night. Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday. The only day we ain't dropped no word in the last almost 2 weeks was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say NT too long. Because we've been running. Back to back. Been on the block pitching hard. You know what I'm saying? But tonight, I promise to you, man, y'all's my witness before whom I stand. But I want y'all to really sit back and ponder upon your own heart and reflect upon your own heart. Ain't necessarily going to talk to somebody else about it. You know what I'm saying? See how they feel. I'm talking about really reflecting your own heart about what we discussed this evening. On every level. The listening, with the intent to do, the guarding, the adding of value. You know what I'm saying? To others. People who adding value to you. You know what I'm saying? Are you adding value to the point where you can't be replaced? You know what I'm saying? Are you moving in the framework of showing yourself to be a responsible man and engendering that the people who you directing or following you, that they can respect you and respect your judgment and your decision making? Because they know it's sound. Because they know the direction that you lead them in, that you're not going to hurt them. Do you take responsibility for the people who riding with you? Do you take the responsibility to the point that they are more important than you are? Would you be willing to take the blame when you ain't did nothing and deflect the praise even if you deserved it or even if you didn't? You know what I'm saying? To sit back and take into account of when certain things come up in life, man, will that cause you to be separated from loving this man and following him as you suppose? You don't think about that type of stuff, man. Let that stuff rest in your brain. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to really execute to maximum levels, and it could be detrimental to your soul. I say, though, everybody can do what they want to do. All I do is just drop it. All I do is just come out here and put the work on the street. Whether you come and cop that work, it's on you. And after you cop the work, whatever you do with the work, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to do with that. You do what you want to with it. You know what I'm saying? You come to me on consignment, all I'm like is just bring this back, man. You do what you want to. I don't care what you do with it. Just bring me back what I said I need. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of y'all, just like the song say, you want to run off on the plug. You want to dip. You don't want to really bring that back. You You know what I'm saying? That's how we treat this man. He give us something and we run off and we don't want to bring him back the return on his investment. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're going to invest in a woman, that means you're seeking to get a return on your investment, because investing in a woman is an investment in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Hamashiach came and made an investment in a woman because that investment was in himself, because she flesh is flesh and she's bone of his bone. He was willing to make that investment in her, knowing that he would get something in return. You know what I'm saying? He was willing to invest, laying his life down for this woman to reciprocate back and loving him by hearkening diligently unto his voice and his instructions and guarding what he had to say in her heart. So we have to turn around and we have to look at that same token, because everything I'm saying, the master did this himself. We giving you the illustration. We just ain't running it all the way down with everything, because I be here all night. You know what I'm saying? But y'all know where this stuff at, because I'm showing you out the word where he did this at. This man did this. He invested in his wife. Some of this stuff is just a different angle of looking at some stuff that we done looked at in the last 75 to 90 days. It's like we dealt with the first and second Adam dying for their wife. They made an investment in their wife by laying their life down, knowing something that they would get something back in return from her, which was her love and obedience. Because the curse of the woman after Adam laid his life down is that she will hearken unto her husband, and her husband will rule over her. So it's the same token. Just like Mashiach. That's what he got out of that investment of laying his life down, with obedience and service from his spouse. That's what he got back on his investment. Because I loved you enough to die for you, that you would love me enough to follow me, trusting where I would lead you, because you know I gave my life up for you. And I didn't have to do that. So you understood the investment that I put into you. Therefore, you willing to give me a return on that. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit back. You got to look at that type of stuff, man. You know, a lot of niggas don't get nowhere in their life, man, because they invest in the wrong women. And I'm talking about just time and energy. And then some niggas don't get nowhere because they had the right woman to invest in and couldn't recognize it and didn't do it. And on the flip side, some women invest too much time and energy in the wrong man, and it ends up being destructive. And then some women have the right man in front of them and wouldn't be patient enough to invest enough time and energy for those things to come to fruition, that they could get, then that man could be able to turn around and do those things that we mentioned on the flip side about a man investing in a woman because they couldn't wait, because they were impatient. See, that flesh be itchy and it's impatient, don't like to wait. See, the flesh don't like to wait. That's why a lot of people fall off from the word and they go commit sins and they do this and they do that because they don't like to wait. Because they feel like stuff's supposed to happen on their time. And when they got a time clock in their head and when something's supposed to happen and they don't happen, then they go ahead and they go do what they want to do. Which is what they wanted to do anyway. But they have to use that as a cloak, so to speak. See, those that love Mashiach, as we read in Romans chapter 8, nothing in their life that could happen could cause them to ever do that. Because Paul say, I'm persuaded. Nothing. This man say, I'm convinced in my mind that absolutely nothing could cause that to happen. Let me see what verse 2 say. I ain't even going to read verse 3. Because verse 3 is something totally different. I'm going to cut my time short dealing with verse 2. He say, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of YAHUAH thy Elohim. Well, let's look at these blessings that will overcome thee and overtake thee if you listen. Let's see if we can sit back and look at it. Let's see, I think it's in Ephesians, man. Let me sit back and let's see what this stuff is. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 3. And let's look at about verse 16. It's something we didn't talk about before. We say all these blessings will overtake thee. See, one of the blessings we sit back and look at is the Ruach. It will encompass your whole being. And it will overtake you. If you listen. So we know one of the blessings you're going to get. You're going to receive an inheritance as a son. So I guess we'll look in the book of Revelation a little bit and look at some of those blessings. And, and just some things that we know offhand that's in the word. The first place you're going to inherit is the land. It's what's in the first covenant. It's in the second covenant. It said it'd be New Jerusalem, an eternal kingdom, where your Elohim shall dwell with thee. You will inherit that. You will inherit. We just talked about that Isaiah 64:4. That eye have not seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart of man perceived what Elohim had prepared for those that love him. So I'm going to tell you something. We talking about all this stuff this evening, these blessings, but these blessings ain't for everybody. So that means I ain't talking to everybody. That means whoever listening on their phone or whoever may watch this later, I ain't talking to you if you disbelieve it and you disobedient. I ain't talking to you. But if you're faithful and you obey, then I'm talking to you. That message is for you. You know what I'm saying? For those who believe and hearken diligently to guard this man's commandments and listen with the intent to hear and to do, I'm talking to you. And Baruch be you in the name of YAHUAH HaMashiach. You know what I'm saying? I am talking to you. But if you are faithless and unbelieving, may your soul be damned and you receive every single solitary thing that Yahuwah say the wicked may receive, because it's his will and according to his righteousness that you receive it. And if somebody don't like it, man, take that out with Yahuwah, because the book say, cursed be he that obey not all the words of this covenant. And I'm talking about Jeremiah 11. I ain't talking about what's in the Torah. That man say he that believe not on the Son is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Elohim. So that's why I said what I said. If you are faithless and disobedient, may your soul be damned according to the word of Yahuwah, and that you may receive a full wage for your iniquity. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? But again, I reiterate. But if you are faithful and believing, Baruch be you in the name of Yahuwah by Hashem Yahushua. You stand strong and you keep going, that you may receive a full reward, which Yahuwah has promised to the righteous and all those that love him, and that wait patiently and labor diligently to receive the reward at the coming of his Son Yahushua HaMashiach. May you receive your reward in full. And may you dwell with him forever in shalom, and bear witness to his esteem and his light, and see his face, and have this man's name sealed in your forehead. Ephesians 3:16. That he would grant you according to the riches of his esteem to be strengthened with might by his Ruach in the inner man. See, that first blessing, you'll sit back and get it, that strength inwardly. That strength to endure all things. But look what he tell you now. That Mashiach might dwell in your hearts by faith, that you being rooted and grounded in love, that may be able to comprehend with all Kadeshim what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Mashiach which pass all knowledge, that you might be filled with all fullness of Elohim. See, when you sit back and you look at it and love Mashiach dwelling you by faith, you see he's sitting here telling you how the blessedness will overcome you and overtake you, because you'll be enveloped by the Ruach HaKodesh. See, you notice when you see people receive it, it fills them up to the core of their being, for you to be able to be counted as a son of the living Elohim, that you would scream out, Abba. That's the blessing. So you got blessings and curses, right? The book sit back and tell you that. Deuteronomy chapter 30, right? Hold on. Deuteronomy 30, right? Verse 19. I call Shamahim and the rats to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. That thou may love Yahuwah thy Elohim, and thou may obey his voice, and thou may cleave unto him, for he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou might dwell in the land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Well, let's look at Revelation chapter 2, man, and let's just look at some of the things that he gonna give you. His forth is a blessing overtaking you. And maybe we'll come back, y'all will, on the morrow and go way more in depth on that. When we look at Revelation 2 and about verse 7. He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the body. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. That blessing of eternal life will overtake you because you'll have the ability to partake in that. Verse 17. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the body. To him that overcome will I give to eat the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and a stone a new name written, which no man know, saving he that receive it. Because remember in Isaiah, he said he called his servants by another name. Now you got the hidden manna, which we were sitting back talking about, that hidden bread or that hidden life, which is that word hidden in your inward parts, because you overcame. The bread of life is hidden in your heart. Y'all don't hear me though. Hold on, man. Revelation chapter 2, verse 26. And he that overcome and keep my works unto the end will I give him power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron, as vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. Now you'll get dominion and eternal life. Notice that the blessing every time when he's talking about here is life. Eternal life will overtake you. Hold on, I don't want to quote the man wrong. This all what you're going to get for listening with the intent to do and hiding this man's word in your heart. This man say this man's blessing will come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken. All you got to do is look when the master was immersed and the Ruach HaKodesh came upon the man and overtake him. It overtook him and it became one with him. And when he was resurrected from the dead, it did the same thing. And when you look at Acts chapter 2 and they received the Ruach with the apostles, it did the same thing. And when you seen Peter preach the word to them Gentiles in Acts chapter 10, it did the same thing. And when you look at Acts chapter 19, when Paul say, who immersion were you immersed unto? They say, John the Baptist. Say, we ain't never heard much more no Ruach HaKodesh. And when they preached YAHUAH HaMashiach unto him, it did the same thing. Because the blessing of Yahuwah is the Ruach HaKodesh, because Yahuwah is life. And his life is contained in the name of his son. And he that believe on his son, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Verse 12, Revelation 3. I'll stop it right here. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. So not only that, you'll dwell in the house of your Elohim. And he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. So we got to ask ourselves, how badly do we want that blessing? But I say hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I'll stop right there. Most High willing, we pick it up on tomorrow.